Good afternoon, Eagan hockey fans, and welcome back to the Eagan Civic Arena, where we have yet another conference matchup, this time versus Cougars from Lakeville South. Mann, Groutman, and Strom forwarding your starting lineup. Thomas and Beckwith at D. D pass goes back. Beckwith drops that back for Mann. Mann gets that up to mid-ice. Lakeville loses the handle there and has to touch back up for another breakout. Sends that in. Beckwith sends it back to the boards. Gets loose for Mann, who tried to leave that over for Groutman. Beckwith able to send that up as well. Beckwith, fans on the pass, trying to get that over to Thomas, but will come out of the corner. Chips it up the glass. Groutman gets there first. Icing is waved off as that's tipped up. Groutman still fighting for along the board. Stanky on the ice. Levine, Razinen on for D. Mead as well. That one tipped back. Levine in a foot race. Taken behind the net by Lakeville South as they send it around the boards. Shot gets deflected back. And Siljan. That one through the crease. Defended there by Razinen and Levine. And that one gets sent behind. Centering opportunity doesn't come. Razinen to Siljan. Gets it all the way across ice. And dumped in by Stanky, who's now chased for the puck behind the net. Over to Siljan at the sideboards. Shot gets on net. Back through again. Siljan shot and goal! Aaron Siljan, number 32, makes it 1-0 for the Wildcats. Beautiful play from the sideboards. I think that one coming from Levine. Nice effort. Rewarded with a goal. See the play?
Starting for Eagan, number 32, Aaron Siljan. This goes to number 26, Woody Levine. And number 12, Kate Stanky.
Siljan with the goal. Levine and Stanky with the assist. Eric Kerner between the pipes. That one brought in deep into the zone by Schmidt. Schmidt tried to fan that over. It gets picked up there by Riley. Riley shot across the crease. Urick lost the handle. Couldn't get a shot off. Tipped ahead by Schmidt. And Lakeville gets it back into neutral ice and takes that on onside. Tried to send that there, intercepted by Eddie. Eddie over to Riley, back for Schmidt. Schmidt cycles that back for Gillespie, who looks for an option, an outlet pass. Decides to skate it, and we'll get it tipped in there by Urick. Nice play across deep into the zone behind the South netminder. Picked up by Mann. Mann lost the handle in the slot. Groutman pushes his into the boards, and Mann will go into the corner to chase. Centering opportunity there. Back to the point for Thomas. Thomas shot on goal. Rebound effort. Backhand. Strom through, and the net comes off. Shots 4-1 in favor of your Wildcats. Fast-paced game here so far with 11:53 left in the first period. Eagan leading 1-0. I think I had announced the last game. This is our second to last home game, but this is actually our second to last home game. Cats on the road next game against Rosemount, and then back home versus Apple Valley Burnsville. Net taking off its moorings there, set back in place, and now we resume play 5-on-5 hockey. Ethan Mann drops it to Groutman. And Beckwith gets by Beckwith. Thomas with a good back check. Get the stick there. Nice job by Kerner. Seen him do those splits before. Wildcats back to center ice. Held there briefly by Beckwith as Lakeville's about to get around one, but good stick by Thomas to maintain possession. Groutman sends that across. Beckwith joins the rush up to Man. Man shot! Rebound loose out in front. Nice offensive play. Almost kept in there by Steinke. Backhanded in. Cats have to touch up and get back to center ice. Back behind the net is Thomas. Thomas rings out around the boards. Nice stop by Steinke. Gloves it down for himself, but it's going to lose it to oncoming Lakeville traffic. Siljan pressuring, forces the pass D to D as they send that up the boards to the point and send that in deep for Beckwith to get there first. He'll send that around. Steinke again with a good stop. Left that ahead, trying to get to Mead, but a little out of his reach. Kerner tried to hold that before. Levine sends that back up to the point. Lakeville recovers, shot low and wide. Now Beckwith behind the boards. Beckwith taps that ahead. Steinke again at the boards. Sends that off of a skate. Lakeville dumps it into the corner. Beckwith up the glass. Leaves that for Mead. Mead's got Steinke with him. Drops it for Siljan. Siljan able to get around one and send it deep into the zone onside. Lakeville cycles that back around to the boards, brings it up past their defensive point. Razinen able to keep it out. Siljan, your lone goal scorer so far this game, pressuring. That one gets across ice. Schmidt not able to get there in time. Levine settles that down, leaves it for Razinen. Razinen back to Levine. Levine pivots, sends it back up to the blue line for Schmidt. Schmidt turns away from pressure, up to Levine. Levine passes around, backhanded that up to Eddie. That one back in the zone briefly for Urick. Levine not able to keep control. Eddie will pick up at the bottom of the circles. Send that stretch all the way. It's intercepted there by Lakeville. Lakeville has to wait to touch up and then sends it deep into the zone. Eddie able to get it back out into neutral. 9-10 left. Shots 5-2 in favor of the Wildcats as that one goes back down for Razinen. Razinen behind his own net. Sends it up. Tipped over the sideboards. Lakeville able to keep it in, but not controlled. Back down for Eddie. Eddie enters the zone with Urick. Urick driving to the net. Eddie shot into the pads, right into the logo for a stoppage of play. 6 shot on goal. Take a deep breath. I just got done calling a 12 UB2 game down in Rochester. The speed is much different. I think I've already exceeded my words per minute. Shot gets blocked there by Lakeville South shin pad as Riley goes back. D to D over to Gillespie. Gillespie centers that to Mann. Mann dumps that in. Lakeville comes out. Nice pressure by Groutman. Centering to Mann. Fans on the shot. Goes by Riley's stick. Riley's going to have to check back. Gillespie there as well. 2-on-1 broken up by Mann. Nice glove save. Eric Kerner. Eric Kerner with a recent varsity debut at this last game against Shakopee a few nights ago. He did a fantastic job. Puck's down for Mann. Trying to leave that for Riley. Lakeville, D pass, watched by Groutman back to the blue line. Picked up there. Strom has to take a seat. Mann dumps that in. He'll go off for a change. Back on the ice is Steinke. Lakeville centers through neutral ice. Riley able to get it on his backhand and dump it deep. Back around the boards just outside the pit of death. And nice pressure and stick there by Riley. Leaves that for Gillespie. Gillespie over to Siljan. Siljan can get a full piece of wood on it as he leaves it for Steinke. Steinke back into center ice. Lakeville, shot on goal, right into the Eagan letters. No challenge for the Eagan netminder, Eric Kerner, number 35. Lakeville wins that draw back to their point. Trying to send it deep in the corner. Beckwith initially got a stick on it. Centering opportunity goes to the bottom of the circles. Thomas covering man out in front. That goes behind the net. Lost in some skates as Meade pulls it away. Kicks it ahead to himself, but loses it to a Lakeville skate. Back down, D to D. And poked away by Steinke. That one comes in number 37, Platt. Pushed into the boards, not able to center. As that one rips a shot around. Kerner had the pads down, able to easily cover that for another save. Levine, Razinin, Urick, Schmidt. Schmidt pressuring the point, able to backhand that back out of the zone. Eddie trying to drive as well. Nice job by Schmidt and Eddie to get off the boards. Razinin dumps that over to Urick, who's able to send that behind the Lakeville goal. Eddie forces the reverse. Stretch pass goes up. Levine initially has a stick on that. Pushes the puck into the corner. Nice job by Levine with a nice follow-up check. Driven to the boards, hit the side of the net. Levine picks it up in the corner and skates out. Not enough to get out of the zone, but now gets it back to neutral ice. That one tipped back. Levine settles. Sends it to Razinin. Razinin's looking for options. Gets it up the boards to Eddie. Eddie. Shot deep into the corner. Urick will be the first one for the Cats. Gets it to the other side of the ice, and Lakeville picks it up. Brings it past their own blue line through center ice. Riley with a good stick. I'll take it, try to center for himself. Urick not able to get a stick on that. Defended there by Gillespie. Shot wide of the post. Dumped back in. And Eddie sends it around the boards, trying to get it over there to Urick. Back around the other way, top of the circles. Schmidt picked up by Riley. Riley cycles that Eddie. Eddie able to tip it back up, but not out. And that one goes all the way through, wide and high. Eddie behind the net. Sends it around, a little too hot for Schmidt. Top of the circles, on net, and save Kerner. A little extracurricular activity goes uncalled, but quickly broken up. Groutman, Strom, Beckwith, Mann, and Thomas on the ice. Mann drops that puck back down to Thomas. Thomas all the way around. Groutman trying to make a far reach for it. Mann picks that up, sends it across for Strom. Strom going to be able to get this up. Strom up to Beckwith. I'm sorry, Groutman. Mann, shot and goal! Nice north play. Groutman and Mann. 2-0. Wildcats. What was the JV score last time? Last game was a loss against Lakeville South's JV team, 3-1, so already better on the goal side. That one back down for Thomas. Thomas, brought in by Strom, kept in there. Mann not able to pick that up at the blue line.
Assisted by number 40 by Anthony Groutman. And number 25, Teddy Strom.
Teddy Strom and Groutman with the assist. Goal by Ethan Mann. Groutman has that at the boards. Up to Strom. up to Man, who just lost a handle on it. And that one gets dumped in. Back to the boards. Siljan had a stick on that initially. That one goes with a couple stick waves, but kept out by Eric Kerner with a nice low glove catch. 3:56 left in this fast-paced first period. Lakeville South now out shooting the Wildcats 8-7, but the score remains 2-0. Mead sends that to the boards, kept in by South. Shot goes high into the glass. Mead digging away at it. Gets help from Siljan and backed up there by Levine. Siljan sends that around, trying to get to Stanky. Lakeville South keeps it in off the stick of Razanen. Centering opportunity coming here. Levine pushes his man into the corner. Drop back again. Wraparound opportunity goes nowhere, and Mead with some good pressure as Levine will retreat to the boards and send it up, but not out. Levine with another stick. Across. Nice save. Kerner! Sliding save across keeps this game 2-0. Levine sends it all the way up. Tipped in by Siljan on net and covered for a save. Nice play. Looking and playing aggressively. Stretch pass from Levine to Siljan. 3:03 left in the first period. Schmidt, Riley, Eddie, Gillespie, and Urich with a nice how do you do. Schmidt pushed into the boards. That one goes all the way around. Gillespie not able to keep it in. Riley able to put on pressure and pick up the puck behind his own red line. Stop short, gets out to Schmidt. Schmidt tried to back out then to Gillespie, taken over by Lakeville. Lakeville around their own net, reverses back behind. They're going to be looking for a centering opportunity that's deflected into the point. Blocked by Schmidt. Nice block, Hudson Schmidt. Couple more shots for Lakeville South as they bring that 10-8 in their favor of shots on goal. Back down for Eddie. Eddie gets that to the boards. Still loose, sent into the corner by South. Back up to the point. Back to the boards. Cross. Tipped out by Schmidt with a nice stick. D pass. Comes back to the blue line. Picked up there by Riley. He keeps it inside, waits for reinforcements as Urich sends it deeper into the zone. Now pressured by Eddie. Eddie, Urich able to keep it to the boards. Riley with a nice hit. No Wildcats to pick that one up as that one goes back into the offensive zone for Lakeville South. Lakeville South pull it forward. Kerner squeezes the pads as they try to bring it across. Nice read there by Kerner. Instructions being given at the dot. Puck down, man drops that back into the corner. Beckwith with a hard wrap around the boards and then one back down for Thomas. Thomas surveying options over to intentional offsides brings puck all the way down to the other end. Puck down for Man. Kept in there, Groutman fires that. Gets deflected into the corner. Strom centers, Man backhands, loose out front. Still working at it. Lakeville able to get it away, still loose out front. Groutman had a brief stick on it, and now Lakeville comes the other direction. Lakeville to the outside. Beckwith with a nice pinch into the boards. They're able to evade one as they center that back up to the point, keep it in, shot through traffic. Batted back down by Mann. Mann up the boards. Stomp. Couldn't get it up the boards. Finished up there. That one bounces briefly into the zone. Groutman applying pressure. Lakeville. That one gets taken down, no call. 45 seconds left in the period as that one goes through center ice. Nice stick by Thomas to keep it out. Lakeville has to touch back up. Siljan. That pass gets deflected by Beckwith. Kept in there by Stanky. Mead passes that back down to Razinen. Razinen up through ice. Icing is the whistle. 18.7 seconds left as we have a defensive zone face-off. Mead pushes that to the boards. Razinen up to the slot. And another save by the chest protector glove of Eric Kerner. .8 seconds left. A couple ticked off there. Mead drops that for Razinen. Levine out in front of the net. Shot across the crease. Shot hits the side of the net. Back to the point. 5 seconds left. Shot. Save. Kerner. Back behind. Not going to be enough time. Time expires. 2-0. Last save there by Kerner as well. We'll take a 2-minute break and be right back after this. Back for the second period. 15 minutes on the board. That one gets dropped down. Siljan sends that to neutral ice, but quickly back into the offensive zone. Levine chips that up. Nice speed there by Mead. That one comes loose. Stanky over to Siljan. Siljan keeping it to the outside. Mead heads to the net. Shot across the crease. That one back for Levine. Levine dumps it back in right into the face mask of Stanky. Not very nice. Good block there by Mead as he gets pressured into the boards. Sent back up the ice. Lazanen with a nice keep in, sends it on net. And the netminder decides to cover as he saw Mead barreling his way down. Eddie Yurt, Schmidt, Gillespie, Riley on the ice. Back down. Contested faceoff goes all the way around. Gillespie not able to keep it in, but does keep that from going further up the ice. Gillespie does keep this one in. Sends that back to the boards for Urick. Urick cycles to Schmidt. Schmidt cycles back to Gillespie. Gillespie's shot blocked there. Riley picks up at the sideboards. Takes that behind the net. Back up to the point. Eddie, shot, bounces. Middle of the circle there. Riley still deep into the zone. And Riley's gonna go off on a interference call there. Power play opportunity here for Lakeville South. Back to the point for Hartman. Through traffic, tipped down. Shot fanned on there, still loose out in front. And Kerner able to get a hold of that and squeeze it tight. 2 minutes interference on Riley. 5-on-4 hockey for 1:50. Man pushes that forward. D-to-D pass at the point. Shot goes wide. Wide open net goes unrewarded. Groutman with pressure in the corner. Beckwith sends that back up the boards. Lakeville driving the net. Hits the side there. And Beckwith sends that up. Almost intercepted there by Man, but able to clear the zone regardless. Beckwith, up ice, briefly in the offensive zone. And that one's dumped back in onside by South. To the boards, kept in. Lakeville cycling at their point. Back to the top, tipped away there at the last moment. Sent behind the net. Thomas gets there first and sends that back to the point. Groutman sends that on net. Back down deep. Eagan's have to get it back on the ice here as they went through a quick 4-person change. Across the ice. Not all changed, had a line change, not all 4. Top of the circles. Strom almost had that tipped back out. Top again, shot through traffic. That one goes high into the glass. Michigan, or that was the Zegras attempt there. And that one will go back down. Creative play there by Lakeville South. No one up front to tap it home. Lakeville brings that up the outside. Settles it down. Shot. Fiery glove save there by Kerner. The only thing we were missing there was the windmill. Eagan back at full strength, 5-on-5 hockey commences. 11:30 left in the second period. Mead pushes that around. Levine tried to send that all the way up the boards. Razin able to get it back out into mid-ice. Mead pressing with Siljan. That one goes by the stick of Levine as Razin picks it up and sends that back up into the slot. Shot on goal, read by Kerner well. Mead gets pushed into the boards. Levine comes to help out. Sends that around for Siljan, who's able to get it, keep it to the outside. He got one to beat. He's pushed into the ice with a nice check. Steinke helps get that deep below the red line. Mead at the sideboard, settles it down. Takes a shot through traffic. Glove save. South. Shots 19-11 in favor of the Cougars. 10:49 left in the second period. Puck's down for Eddie as he pushes that forward up the contested draw. All the way on the boards, Riley able to get a stick on it. Bouncing puck. Recovered again by Riley. Riley takes that to the sideboards. Back down. Nice pass. Across. Lakeville takes that big end offside and drops it back down. Gillespie. Pass up the glass. Lakeville come back the other direction. Riley covering off that centering attempt, and Lakeville has no choice but to send it behind the net. Back out for Schmidt. Schmidt keeps it to the outside. Gets bumped off the puck. Had Strom or Urick trailing with him. Back out all the way down. Eddie will pick that up before it crosses that line for icing. Gillespie centers. And the net comes off and will have to be reset. It sounds like they're using the wrong pegs. A little too metallic. Man gets booted from the face-off dot. Urick pushes that forward to the blue line. Pressured there by Groutman through traffic, back down again. Groutman sends that a little too far for the pass of Urick. Lakeville South dumps that back in as well. Groutman able to get it at the boards. Kept in there by Lakeville, just briefly brought out, but not enough to call offside. And here comes another penalty. Tripping call on Thomas. Probably learned that from his old man. Another power play opportunity here for Lakeville South. Their PK unit is Mead, Levine, Siljan, and Razinen. Puck down. Mead trying to poke that away. Sent down the length of the ice by Willie Levine, number 26.
Minor penalty has been called on Eagan's number 5, Conrad Thomas. 2 minutes for tripping at 5:30.
Razinen with a good stick. Able to push pressure away. Both players go down. Levine goes down as well. Still able to maintain control. That one goes back into the corner. Levine fighting for possession. Loses his edge. That one back to the Lakeville point. Sent across. Shot tipped out front. Blocked. And sent down the length of the ice by Aaron Siljan, I believe. 1:16 left in the penalty kill. Lakeville, top of the circles, center back around, waiting for help. Send that back to their point. DD across. Back up to the top of the slot. Shot gets blocked there by Steinke. Lakeville across. Tipped there by Urick as he goes for the puck. takes it in, trying to dump it deep, but loses the handle. Lakeville able to get back the other direction, bring it in. Watched there by Steinke and Razinen, able to get a stick back on it. Steinke back to the top. Top of the circles on the other side. Top of the slot, shot through traffic, gets deflected into the corner, back to the boards. Sent back up into the slot, shot through. That one gets tipped up into the netting. Should get a whistle stoppage and play there. 7:50 left, 20 seconds left in the minor penalty against Thomas. Back to the point, over across, top of the circles, shot goes wide. Somehow kept in. I think that hit the pit of doom. Tried to get around one. Riley was there to deflect that away. Add the face-off dot there. That one again into the netting. Eagan at full strength. Another successful penalty killed off by the Wildcats. Shots now 20-11 in favor of the Cougars as they start their offensive rush. Puck to the boards. Riley pulled it back. Gillespie out front defending pressure. Cycled back around behind the red line. Cougars still looking like they're on a power play. Puck down behind the net, dropped back, tried to center that for an opportunity. Eddie sends that to the boards, kept in there by Lakeville South, that one loose. Shot on goal, goes high and wide. And that went around for Gillespie, who tried to send that out to Schmidt. That one gets tipped, so icing is waved off. Ure goes off on a change. On comes Groutman. Groutman at the top. Takes it to the outside. Shot on goal. Tipped loose out front. Goalie didn't have full control of that, and Lakeville comes back the other way. Through neutral ice and big hit center ice by Riley. Razinen able to get that out. Lakeville dumps that back in. Gillespie picks it up in the corner. Heads up, stretch all the way up to Schmidt. Schmidt clubs it down, not able to keep possession. Mann takes it away, has his stick interfered with, but still back in. Lakeville not able to get it back out, kept in by Mann. Mann over to Groutman. Groutman shot just goes wide. Nice play there by Groutman and Mann. Mann pressure along the boards, tied up. Hooked, you almost might say. That one sent into the bench. For defensive zone face-off. Sankey, Siljan, Thomas, Mead, and Schmidt on the ice. Puck down, Mead wins that around. Beckwith, not Schmidt. Sorry, I thought I saw 33. Pass up ahead to Mead. Mead has Siljan drop to Siljan. Siljan shot on goal, glove save, Lakeville. Puck down for Mead. Up the boards, kept in there by Siljan with the glove. Siljan pushes his man off. That one gets sent back into the boards as Lakeville looks to rush up the boards. Thomas briefly had his stick on that, back down for Mead. Mead deep in his own zone, gets helped out there by Stanky. South, shot on net, gets deflected into the boards by Kerner. That one kept in. Bounce and save. Kerner with the fancy glove. 5:03 left in the second period. Shots 23-13 in favor of the Cougars. Levine, Razinin, Mead, Urick, and Steinke. Nice rush up to the point by Siljan with a block. Tried to leave that for Steinke. Intercepted there by Lakeville. Should have shot. Selfless play, but it did get turned over. Mead through center ice. Levine able to get that out. Siljan almost with another nice takeaway. That one through neutral ice all the way down. Levine gets there, so icing's waved off. Back down for Levine, takes it to the boards. Bothered from behind, able to get it back up to the point, but not out. Nice job there by Mean with some pressure. Levine able to get a stick on it. Nice work, defensive back check. Sent back out to the top of the circles. Getting a little loose here with the turnovers. That one back up the boards. Lakeville has to recover. They go change a couple forwards. Sent back in. Razin gets it back to the blue line, but not out. Tried to reverse back around, sends it to the glass as Razinin sends that back for Levine off the back of the net. Levine finds an outlet pass all the way down. Did not connect, so icing as the whistle. 3:46 left in this middle frame. Hey. Eddie, Lefsey, Schmidt, Urick, and Riley. That one all the way around the boards for Urick. Urick sends that across ice. Schmidt trying to get there first. Back in. Eddie. Shot comes off as the whistle was going for an offside whistle. Whistle for an offside whistle. Offside call. Gillespie, shot into the open glove of the South netminder. Schmidt trying to put pressure on. Gillespie and Urick not able to keep that in the zone, and Lakeville the other direction. Nice hip check there by Eddie. Gillespie helped out there by Riley. Riley, outlet pass, still loose. And now back out for Eddie as he puts pressure on, but kept alive by Lakeville South. Riley. Chases into the corner, centering opportunity. Shot goes wide. Riley tried to kick that ahead. Schmidt leaves that for Eddie. Eddie to Urick, back to Eddie. Eddie tries to drag to the center and gets pressure. Kept in by Schmidt. Schmidt steps around one. Penalty coming on 16 red. Tripping is the call. Cats will go on the power play with 2:30 left in the middle frame. Thomas, Beckwith, Mann, Groutman, and Strom. Mann at the face-off dot. Wins that over to Strom, to Thomas. Thomas dumps that back down deep. Strom to Mann, back to Strom. Strom to Mann, tries to cleat there. Groutman with an effort. Beckwith send that back deep again. Mann to the top of the circles. That one gets sent down all the way for a clear. Thomas cycles back to Groutman. Groutman over to Beckwith. Beckwith skates, keeps to the outside and dumps it in deep. Mann trying to get there first with a nice pressure. Gets help there from Groutman. Beckwith steps in, gets it over to Thomas. Thomas shot Loose almost rebound attempt there from Mann. Mann takes it to the top of circles. Shot on goal through traffic. Groutman not able to pull it away. And Lakeville the other direction, bothered behind by Groutman. They send it in on net and go for a change. Stretch opportunity coming here up to Strom. Strom catches, waits for reinforcements to arrive, tried to feather that over to Mann. Lakeville rushes the net, shoots one wide. 42 seconds left in the power play here. Lakeville shot all the way down the ice on net. Thomas picks that up behind the net. Thomas surveying options. Draws in a forward and then sends it across mid-ice. Nice catch by Siljan. Takes to the outside, has Mead behind him. Shot across. Razanen keeps that in. Shot on goal into the open glove of Lakeville South. 11 seconds left in the power play. 45 seconds left in the penalty. Shots 24-16. Favor of the Cougars. On the ice now, Levine, Razanen, Mead, Steinke, and Siljan will try to capitalize on the remaining seconds of this power play. Steinke not able to feather that forward. That one goes loose for Razanen. Razanen keeps it alive. Pass across. Sent all the way down as the penalty expires. Left for Levine, who sends it up the boards. Top of the circles, bringing it into the slot. That one looked like it was going towards the net, but took a wicked ride up. Levine. That one loose. Levine gets it away. Steinke tripped. Back into mid-ice, 10 seconds left. And Levine tried to get that out off of a skate. 5 seconds, 4 seconds, just need to eat the puck now, and that'll be the end of the second period. Razanen taking offense, a little pushing and shoving still happening. It's coming. And we'll be back for the third period right after this Zamboni clear. Back live, second period. Puck back down deep in the offensive zone with Groutman pressuring. And that one goes the length of the ice. Groutman and 17 on red will go to the bench. At least coincidental minors. Refs deciding if they want to get another one here.
It's not going to be coincidental.
It's not. It's going to be a double minor on Groutman. So might have a roughing on both sides plus an unsportsmanlike on Eagan is going to be the call, I would imagine. So power play here for the Wildcats.
It looks like they're going to get off.
Or not. All right.
Penalties have been called. First of all, to Lakeville South, number 17.
Yep, number 17.
Zach Castle finished the roughing at 25 seconds.
Meade settles that down off of a helmet.
And also to
Has
number
Steinke out front.
2 minutes unsportsmanlike conduct and a 10-minute misconduct penalty. That also coming at 25 seconds.
That one leaves the rink. Coincidentals are being served. Groutman with an extra 10-minute misconduct. Eddie trying to leave that for Schmidt. Schmidt trying to pull that back to the boards and does. Steps into the center. Eddie bumped off the puck. Back out to the point. Kept in there by Thomas. A little bit past the stick of Schmidt. Centering opportunity goes through the slot. Thomas shot goes wide. Schmidt across. Kept in there by Thomas. Back to Schmidt. Schmidt steps around one. Able to get it out front to Urick. Behind the net. Nice tip opportunity there. Idea by Eddie. Might have been called high stick anyway. Again, Thomas kept that in briefly, but back for Eddie. Eddie, cross ice. Past the stick of Urick. As Thomas goes, that one tipped up into the Eagan bench for a whistle. Meade, Mann, Strom your forwards, Rasen and Levine back your D. Sorry, Riley, Strom, Mann. Riley brings that in, takes that to the side. Centering opportunity, broken up by Lakeville. That one hits the stick of Levine, who dumps that back in. Cats have to touch back up and do. Back down for Levine. Levine sends that up to Riley. Riley takes that to the center, drops that for Mann. Mann shot goes wide. Back to the boards. Levine to Rasanen. Rasanen will look to send that back to Levine. Levine up to Mann. Mann has Urick with, Strom. Strom shot on net, gets deflected into the corner. Back for Mann. Mann through the slot. Rasanen shot loose out to the side. Strom trying to regain control. Sends that back for Riley. Riley has Mann out front. Riley to Strom. Strom sends up to Mann. Mann shot high and wide. Strom Back to Riley. Riley leaves that. Lakeville able to recover that one back to Razin, and Razin to Levine. Levine to Razin. Razin pulls that center up to Levine. Levine takes that, keeps that to the outside. Centering opportunity gets broken up by Lakeville. Back to the boards. Levine with pressure. Razin finishes up. Riley takes it to the slot and leaves it for Levine. Little miscommunication there. Back behind Razin to Levine. Levine sends out all the way up ice. Intercepted there by Lakeville. Couple sticks loose. That one gets dumped back in. Levine able to tie up Lakeville South. That one around the boards, but no centering opportunity there with a hard hit from Meade. Centering. Levine to Seljan. Out to Steinke, who settles it down and dumps it in the zone and will go after it with Seljan up front. That one ends up on the stick of Seljan, back up to the boards. Shot on goal gets deflected to the other side. Back down, past the stick of Thomas, going to be called icing with exactly 11 minutes left in regulation. Shots 24-18 in favor of South. Five-on-five hockey. Meade at the center dot. Loose. Lakeville feeds that ahead. Player loses his glove. Sends that across the crease. Top of the circle, sent in deep for Thomas. Thomas up the board to Steinke, tries to send it back. It stays on the point, but goes behind the net. Gillespie. Meade tries to pull it off the boards, goes behind the net for Meade and Thomas. Steinke sends it up through neutral. Seljan, watching closely, doesn't get a stick on it. Back down for Gillespie. Lakeville brings that in, holds at the blue line, sends that deep to the other corner. Tried to cycle around, misses a shot, ends up on the stick of Seljan. Seljan tips that ahead. Lakeville will have to touch back up, still offside, and now back onside. Stretch pass intercepted there briefly by Schmidt. Schmidt pushes his man in a more forward path and able to get a stick on that. Leave that for Eddie, and Lakeville South recovers. Schmidt to Eddie. Eddie 2-on-1 developing here. Eddie over to Urick. Urick tips it in. Save there. Lakeville gets deflected into the corner. Back loose. Lakeville takes it on the outside. Eddie behind the net. Centering opportunity broken up by Urick. Urick gets tripped and will get called. Danny Urick draws a penalty, and Lakeville will go to the box. Sandquist, number 33. Back with Rasnin, Urick, Eddie, and Schmidt. Your penalty, your power play unit. Schmidt picks that up deep in the zone, takes it behind his own net to reset up the play. Schmidt sends it up for Razinen. Urick picks it up. That one sent back down all the way the length of the ice. Schmidt gets that to Razinen. Razinen feeds that over through Eddie. Eddie's got Urick behind him. Urick takes it to the boards, got Razinen out front, takes it around. Eddie loses the handle, and Lakeville able to send it down the length of the ice. Kerner slows it up. Beckwith. Beckwith plays it out. Keeps it to the outside. Checked into the boards, and again sent down by South. Levine with the retrieval. Skates out, takes it to the outside, trying to look for space and speed, gets it on the outside. Tries to pull to center, over to Strom, Beckwith. Beckwith, shot, bounce, tipped there down by Riley. Back to the point for Levine. Levine shot over to Strom. Nice save there. And that one goes back through neutral ice. Beckwith trying to get there first, able to get it back to the boards. Man, one less defender, up to Levine, who loses a handle, able to slow it down and get it to Man. Man in the zone and sent back down again. 16 seconds left in this penalty kill for the Cougars. Picked up by Gillespie. Gillespie. Picked up again by Lakeville. Kerner comes out. Shot goes wide. Trip coming.
Lakeville at full strength.
That was dumb.
And Lakeville will now go on the power play.
I should probably be quiet.
Penalty kill opportunity for the Wildcats. Needs Steinke, Rasinen, and Thomas.
The minor penalty has been called on Eagan's number 6.
Meade pushes that to the point, kept in there by Lakeville. They cycle that around to the other side. Shot. Kerner in the right position. That one waved off. Questionable call.
Good goal!
Goal. 2-1. Eagan. I mean, it was in. Power play goal by the Cougars. Weird bounce. Snuck in the corner there. Caroline, can you hit the screen for a minute? This should know we had audio. Back down for Thomas. Thomas holds. Sends over to Beckwith. Beckwith back to Thomas. Off his stick into the boards, but recovered back to Siljan. Siljan tried to feed that back through to Siljan. Meade picks it up, drives towards the net. Shot, rebound, and save. Net comes off. That one ended up looked like behind, right at the side of the net. That one dumped deep. Siljan trying to intercept, rung around the boards, kept in there by Beckwith. Beckwith shot on goal, goes to the other side. Siljan trying to backhand that in from a rebound. Sent back up to the blue line through neutral zone. And bumped off the puck is Sandquist. Steinke sends it around for Thomas, a little bit out of his reach. Lakeville not able to get it back up to their point and dump it back deep into the zone. Behind the red line, Beckwith pulls it aside, sends it back for Thomas. Thomas sends that all the way down, gonna be an icing whistle with 5:48 left in the third period. Cats leading 2-1, shots 25-20 in favor of the Cougars. Levine, Rasinen, Urich, Schmidt, and Eddie on the ice for the boys in white. Cougars won that draw, pushed it back to the red line, top of the circles, and now dump it deep. Razin able to take care of a lost puck. Back down. Levine behind the red line, icing waved off, drops that for Razinen. Razinen up the glass, up to mid-ice for Uric and Schmidt. Schmidt along the side boards, hammered in, kept in there by Levine. Levine shot, hits the side of the net. Uric behind the ice, he's pushed down. Schmidt pushed down. Call will be made on 37 red. Nice job for Schmidt to just give a nice little love tap. Punching, 2 minutes. I know that's not punching. Cats back on the power play. Riley, Mann, Uric, Strom, and Levine and Razinen. That one sent back down the ice. Kerner keeps it alive.
Lakeville's number 37, Eli.
Razinen sends it over to Levine.
For roughing.
Levine keeps it up the outside.
52.
Reverses back around, sends it to Mann. Mann to Levine. Levine to Mann. Mann cycles for Levine, back to the point for Razinen. Nice movement. Levine shot on net, goes wide. Deflected aside, Strom to Razinen. Razinen able to provide some pressure. Levine. Razinen going to be called for a holding, which I don't agree with. I would call that good defense. The refs call that a holding penalty. So back to 4-on-4 for a minute, for 40 seconds. Minute 40. That's not right.
The 2-minute minor has been called on Eagan's number 15.
Minute 20.
Isaac. 2 minutes for holding.
Icing waved off. That one goes in on net. Man not able to settle down that rebound. Thomas to Gillespie. Gillespie feeds streaking in Man. Nice play. Lakeville brings it outside. Got something out center. Nice stick by Thomas to get it away. Nice backhand shot there. Corralled by Kerner and hits the stick of Riley. Driving it on the outside. Tried to pull it to the center. Off his skate. Back out front. Man shot and off the crossbar. To the boards. Man pushed from behind. Gets taken off his feet. That was Thomas. Off his feet. Hartman centers that back to the blue line through neutral ice, drop back down for a defensive regroup. That one by Riley. South, deep in the zone, Beckwith helps settle. Mead. Flying up, cuts to the outside, drops for Gillespie. Gillespie feeds that through. All the way over to Beckwith. Beckwith shot on goal, goes wide. Lakeville back at full strength and hit that up the ice. Lakeville pulls it to the center, tries to toe drag around. Defense and goal. Sal ties this one up 2-2 after 20 shots. 27 shots, apology. Timeout, Eagan.
Where is Retta's tournament? Grand Rapids. In like, yeah, oh, is she? Okay. Yeah, like the summer. Oh, yeah. Do you have anything in town, like in town? But yeah, oh God, that took forever. Schedule. But it was like a, yeah. Okay, well, she, but yeah, they, it's so weird how how we're out of town tournament be so late. Like so late. So we're trying to get it organized. That and then come back and it's distance like the next weekend. So nice.
And all the other stuff that he needs to do actually have to do. So total basketball right there.
And it's fun.
So the ball was supposed to be that too. They were just ready to finish it.
Scoring for the Cougars was number
Next
5,
will be painting and
Wow.
Blake Senstott.
tiling. Okay, I've seen that.
Cisco's number 15, Carter Ernst.
They hit those?
Time of that goal, 12:02.
We don't have a 15, but that's okay. 15's operation.
It's just significant. Yeah.
It's funny because it happened last week where they announced
I
this.
remember last year having so much difficulty, like sometimes.
Pucks down, Levine to Siljan. Siljan tipped it in. Mead able to can pressure. Siljan shot on goal and recovered by the netminder. Mead pushed that to the corner. Lakeville rings that around. Siljan able to get a stick on that. Lakeville brings that into the zone on side. Mead covers behind the net, turns away from pressure. Up the boards, Steinke sells to Mead. Mead passes from his knees to Siljan. Siljan able to get it out of the zone as South goes the other direction, back north. Beckwith tried to throw a hit. Levine will go into the boards. Gets helped out there by Mead. Mead, Siljan. Siljan able to get it backhanded out to the neutral ice. That one sent back down. Beckwith tried to push that up. Applying pressure. Schmidt behind the net. Leaves that for Eddie. Eddie off the glass into neutral. Siljan lost an edge. Schmidt takes it back in the zone, trying to leave that for Eddie. Eddie will go into the boards, held up there. Here comes in, sends that behind the net. 1:30 left in regulation. That one blocked, still loose in the crease. Behind the net is Lakeville as they pull that back out top the circles and fly through the neutral zone. Offside is the whistle. Neutral zone face-off right outside the blue line. Riley, strong man, Thomas and Razin. Man pushes that forward, gets recovered by Lakeville as they dump it deep. Razin will be the first on the puck for the Wildcats. They send that back up to Man. Man taking it to the outside, drops that for Shams. Shams shot on net, gets deflected. Back the other direction. Thomas keeps his man out. Lakeville trying to regain control behind the net, leaves that for Man. That one covered and brawled in by Kerner. 46.6 seconds left. Score tied up 2-2. Shots 21-27. Beckwith, Man, Gillespie, Riley, and Strong. Puck down for Man leaves for Beckwith. Beckwith brings that all the way around. Rides the rails, back to neutral ice, sent back in, offside now, touched back up is Lakeville. Beckwith not able to clear the zone. That gets sent into the corner. Man able to get it all the way out for Strong. Strong takes it on the outside, in with Riley, out to Man. Man shot out front, tipped aside, 20 seconds left as that one goes through neutral ice. Lakeville not able to hold on to it, gets loose, 15 seconds left. No one seems to want it. Sent across ice, dumped in towards the red line. 6 seconds left. Steinke dumped it deep for me. Time's gonna run out for both teams, and we're gonna have sudden death overtime. Eagan has seen this
Stays in the
a
third
lot.
period for Eagan's Kerner. He had one for a 3-period total of 25. Lakeville South's Solomons had 5 saves for a 3-period total of 19. Be a 2-minute break in the action, followed by a 6-minute running time, sudden death.
Right. I know. Good point. Yeah.
Shout out to Aunt Mary. Shout out to Aunt Janice and Uncle John. Thanks for being super fans.
Five-on-five overtime. Switching sides. Hopefully to give the home fans a show and a goal. Eddie at the draw. Schmidt, Siljan push forward. That one goes up the boards, tipped in there. Held just inside the point. That one sent deep behind the net. Lakeville cycles it. Eddie up to Schmidt. Kept in there. Taken away. Lakeville. Eddie sends it out for Siljan. Race for the puck. Schmidt putting on the Jets. Schmidt chasing behind the boards. That one gets sent up. Almost kept in there by Siljan as Lakeville comes the other way. Sticked aside by Beckwith. Offside and called. Unnecessary. Levine residents Stanky, Mead, and Urick. Resident to Levine. Levine tried to tip that up to Stanky. Not far enough. Streaking into the corner was Razdan. Helped out there by Levine. Levine takes it up, keeps it to the outside, able to get around one. Has Urick out front. Levine pulls it back to the boards. Lakeville the other direction. Mead and Razdan back. Back behind the net. Mead up the boards. Takes it on the outside. Got Steinke out front. Mead shot. Gets taken down. Crashes into the boards. Beckwith around. Mead able to get back up. Thomas will recover. 4 minutes left in this overtime frame. Back up to Thomas. Thomas enters in onside. Centers out. Gets by. Break opportunity here for South. South not able to get a full shot off. No penalty drawn. Beckwith pulls that aside. Leaves that for Thomas. Nice back check there by Mann. Thomas back behind as well. Lakeville pulls it aside. Nice pad save by Kerner. And whistle. Lakeville fans not happy about that. At least the bench. Not too much noise from the fans. Wholesale line change. Fresh legs for the Wildcats. Gillespie, Levine, Siljan, Schmidt, and Eddie. Eddie drops that back for Gillespie. Gillespie sends that around for Levine. A little bit out of his reach. That one sent. Blocked Levine. Levine drops it back. Eddie sends it up the boards to Siljan. Not out. Still loose. Eddie able to get in the way of it. But Siljan's still fighting as well. Lakeville brings that in. Levine with a nice stick. Pulls it to the center. Leaves that for Schmidt. Schmidt pulls that to the side. Rushing the puck, that one goes off. Gillespie to bring it back up, onside. Shot, deflected, no rebound controlled as Lakeville goes the other direction. Gillespie dumps it back in. Eddie trying to get there first, got Schmidt out front. Eddie to Schmidt. Schmidt with a nice opportunity out front to Siljan. Siljan back to the point for Gillespie. Gillespie shot, save. Lakeville South. 2:09 running time still going on. Shots 29-24 in favor of the Cougars. Mead, Urick, Siljan, Thomas, Razanen. Push forward there. That one sent around the boards. Razanen able to get there first, keep it in the zone. Urick tried to get a stick on that, recovered by Mead. 3-on-2 developing the other way for Lakeville South. Taken to the corner. Pressure covered out front. Lakeville trying to regain control. Tip ahead. That one to the side. Pushed back. Thomas bothered. Sends it back for Mead. 1:22 left. Mead pushed away from traffic. Picked up again there by Thomas. Thomas sends it through some skates. Thomas able to get it back up to the point for Urick. Urick keeps it to the outside, enters the zone with Steinke. Picked up by Mead. Mead drags it to the center. Shot. Save Lakeville. 59 seconds left.
Less than 1 minute remains.
Offensive zone face-off. Wildcats trying to take advantage of another chance here. Puck's down for Mann. Back to the point. Gillespie. Over to the side for Strom. Centering opportunity. That one gets loose. Back down. Lakeville. Pressured by Mann. 30 seconds. Gillespie helped out by Strom. Back for Mann. Lakeville trying to send it back to their point. Bring it to the center. Not able to get a shot off. And here comes Ethan Mann. Sends that. Has Riley there waiting. Over to Riley. 14 seconds left. Riley pulls it to the center. Mann tried to backhand that one in 10 seconds left. Back to the point. Gillespie. Shot through traffic. Out to the side. 5 seconds into the glass. Gillespie down. And time is going to expire. 2-2. Eagan. Lakeville South.
Saves in that overtime period for Egan's Kerner. He had 2 saves for a game total of 27. Lakeville's Solomons had 5 saves for a game total of 24.
And that'll do it for this JV matchup. We'll be back on Thursday away at Rosemount. Thanks for joining us. Goodbye.